Welcome back to Science Explained. This is another episode on trigonometry. We are going to have a look at how we can simplify some trigonometric expressions. When you are asked to simplify, what does that mean? It means that you break it down to the lowest term. Now, the knowledge of identities is very important here. So, these are the 4 identities I have been able to prove so far in the previous episode. So, whatever I am dealing with will not go beyond the application of these 4. So, by the time I'm done with that, I'm going to prove some other, there are many identities. So, as I'm proving them, we'll be applying them in solving relevant problems. You can have a try on this question while I pause the video. Okay, let's go there. I want to simplify 1 minus cos sine square theta all over sine square theta. How do I think? How do I reason? I will think of any identity that contains cosine square theta. And, of course, that is this identity. That means from that identity, I will recall the identity. Recall that sine square theta plus cosine square of theta is 1. Okay, the next thing is, how can I either convert the whole of this thing here to sine or cosine? It depends on you. If I want to convert everything to cosine, that means I will change this sine square theta to cosine. If I want to convert everything to sine, that means I will change 1 minus cos square theta to sine. So whichever way. Now, in my own opinion, I want to convert sine square theta to cosine. Therefore, from here, I will make sine square theta the subject. That means sine square theta will be 1 minus cosine square theta. By the time you flip this one to the other side, it becomes what? Minus. So, what happens from there? That means it now implies I'm going to use 1 minus cosine square theta to replace what? Sine square theta in the given question. So, we have 1 minus cosine square theta all over sine square theta will now be replaced with this. One minus cosine square theta. It's very obvious that the numerator and denominator are what? Are the same. So what happens? They cancel each other. And what's the answer? Answer is what? 1. So I've simplified the whole of this to become 1. Very interesting. Now, we want to simplify open bracket 1 minus cosine square theta bracket closed times secant square theta. Now, what do? There are 2 ways. Is either you change this one to an identity. From here, secant square theta is in this identity. That means I can replace secant square theta with tan square theta plus what? 1. Or, since there is 1 minus cosine square theta here, and from here, I can get that 1 minus cosine square theta by using this identity, by transferring cosine square theta to the other side. So, which one will be better now? Because you need to be conscious of time. I would prefer changing this one and leaving this one. Why? Because if I change this one, I'm going to have 2 terms, tan square theta plus 1. That means I need to be dealing with what? Expansion of brackets. But if I change this one, I will have only 1 term, which is sine square theta left. That means I'm going to recall this identity. Recall that sine square theta plus cosine square theta equals to 1. So in order to achieve 1 minus cosine square theta, I will flip this one to the other side. That means sine square theta will be 1 minus cosine square theta. So what does that mean? It means anywhere I see this, I can replace it with this. That's the meaning. So I will now go to the original question and substitute for this. Therefore, 1 minus cosine square theta will be replaced with what? Sine square theta. Then times, because there is a multiplication here, secant square of what? Theta. Now, in one of the previous episodes, I let you know that secant is the reciprocal of what? Cosine. That means this will be sine. You recall that secant square of theta will be 1 over cos square of theta. So it's one of the identities, and one of the identities, and one of the 6 trigonometric ratios. So that means I'm going to have sine square of theta times 1 over cosine square of theta. Without any iota of doubt, this one means over 1. Sine square theta times 1 will give me sine square theta divided by 1 times cosine square theta will give me cosine square theta. And don't forget this identity. Tangent of theta is sine over what? Cos. That means sine square over cos square will be what? Tan square theta. That is the simplified form of this O. Now, to simplify this one, since there are 2 fractions added together, it is advisable you find their LCM. So, the LCM for this will be the 2, 1 minus sine theta in bracket, another bracket, 1 plus sine theta. Okay, let's go there. This one will cancel this. You have only this one left. So this one multiplied by 1 will give you the same. Plus this will cancel out this. You have this left. This one times 1 will give you the same. So without any iota of doubt, by the time you collect the like terms here, 1 plus 1 will be 2. And sine theta minus sine theta will cancel out. Because this is positive sine theta, this is negative sine theta. All over, you now expand this. By the time you expand this, this will give you 1 minus sine square theta. Do your expansion very well. Now, after you have expanded, this is not the final answer because we are asked to simplify. We will check whether there is any identity from which we can obtain this. Of course, from here. Recall that sine square of theta plus cosine square of theta equals to 1. In order to achieve this, I will flip this one to the other side. That means cosine square of theta will be 1 minus sine square of theta. So what does that mean? It means that I can replace this with cosine square theta. So finally, it means 2 over, instead of writing 1 minus sine square theta, I'll write what? Cosine square what? Theta. Which is the same thing as 2 times 1 over cos square theta. Yes, because 2 times 1 will give you 2. But this one means over 1. So, why am I doing this? Because I can still get another simplified trig ratio that will replace this. 1 over cosine is what? Is secant, isn't it? That means answer will be what? 2 secant square what? Theta. Finally, it has been simplified. If you appreciate this teaching, please do not hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ensure that you follow up from the first episode, because I am treating trigonometry from the root